My Lord and my God. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said to him. Wouldn't you have done the same if you'd been there? I mean, hardly a week after it happened, there he stood, Jesus, in borrowed clothes, right in front of my eyes, talking in a hot, dark room full of people in Jerusalem. He looked terrible, like he'd been in one hell of a fight. You know, one of those brawls you get in Caesarea on payday, when dockers, day hands, sailors with girls crowd into the bars on the quay, shouting, waving coins, and drink themselves stupid, stinking of bitumen and fish. Martha. Remember her? We hid in her village, Bethany, just over the hills out of sight when the mob got going. You don't? Oh, come on. Stocky, anxious, always busy. Martha got up on a bench and, stretching above her head, tied the shutters tight with a leather thong from her purse. Ah, how it all rushes back. The shocked looks on the faces, the clink of a chisel, the shouts from a stonemason's yard, the sound of a woman laughing, laughing away in the street as if nothing of the slightest importance was happening at all, and him, right there, in that room, bursting back into my life. Seeing is believing, I said, when the rumours started flying. When Peter told me there was no one, just rags in the tomb, and money men from the temple were out kicking in doors, well, there he stood, leaning to one side, his mouth swollen, his forehead scratched, his face a mess of bruises and cuts. Did I tell you, those bastards, Caesar's soldiers put lead in their whips? His back, I'd reckon, was still raw, still giving him hell, but, you know, he looked sort of calm, like a bloke I once saw, years ago, who'd nearly drowned, lying on the shore near Capernaum, with a crowd looking on. Remember Joseph, his dad, the carpenter, his brother James? We met in Cana. Yeah, that wedding. Hard men, both of them. Real Galileans. Hard and mistrustful. Taxmen, middlemen, temple priests in fancy gear, of Greeks or Syrians setting up shop, your ruler and your rebel. Mistrustful even of themselves, I'd say. Anyway, Jesus, I reckon, was tougher and stronger by far. But where he got the guts to shake off the whips, the jeers, the death he died, nailed to that beam in a stench pit of a quarry, and to sit up on a rock shelf, ready to forgive and go on loving. Well, that gets even a rough-handed builder down on his knees. But isn't believing not also seeing? He makes me ask. Even today, when I sit next to you, cousin, and watch how bits of string, how strips of flax, how reeds become, with each tuck and pull, each pause, each look, then tuck again, a basket in your hands, woven, am I right, strong enough to fill with bread and fish. Tell me, when you pause, yes, like now, and ease that reed a little way up, and then a touch back in your splay of sticks, aren't you sort of seeing a basket, a pattern that isn't there, eh? And doubt, that long look backwards, that peek ahead, isn't doubt the thing that really gets right each turn in the weave? Well, anyway, cousin, that's what happens to me all the time in little daily dilemmas, like, does the plaster need more clay? As well as in the crises, you know, what to do when a brother just walks off the building site, when money buys less and less, when neighbours, night after night, chuck clods onto my roof. Agitated. You're right, cousin. That's when I get all agitated, when I feel so dead to people, so panicky, so blown all about like dust in a shed, you know, where lime and tools are stored. I pray a bit then. Yeah, would you believe it? I grab my stick, walk up the hillside above the lake, sit a moment, then pray. Strange, sitting there, the sun on my face among the thistles, watching a net, the gleam of a net being thrown from a boat. I shut my eyes, and in a flash I find myself back in Jerusalem, that hot, dark room, being shoved in the ribs just like before. Oh, well, someone, is it Mary, whispers, "Go on, Thomas, go on." Sweat stings and blurs my eyes. Round me, women in shawls, men with grimy creases in their necks, all pressed up close. In front, sunlight, slanting in between the slats of the shutters, picks out the dust in the air, the honey in a dark yellow comb, the fire-scorched fish that Peter, yes, Peter's holding on a tray. It's then cousin. He turns and looks at me. The room goes quiet. Slowly, so slowly, I can still see him now. He holds out his hands, uncurls the fingers a little, till I can see the sores in his palms, and spreads out both arms like a friend, and waits, just waits. You know what? It's then I stumble towards him, all over again, and hear myself say in the hush, my Lord and my God."
Chris Mann, 1948 to 2021. This work was written by the South African poet and musician Chris Sutulele Mann, who used the stage name Buffer Hopkins. As a young man with a BA from Wits and 2 MAs, one from Oxford and the other one from the School of Oriental and African Studies, Chris spent 12 years working in rural development in KwaZulu-Natal. In 1995, he joined the monument in Grahamstown, Makanda, as Deputy Director of the Foundation. Later, he joined the Institute for the Study of English in Africa, and in 2006, he was appointed Honorary Professor of Poetry at Rhodes University. He initiated WordFest, a national multilingual literature festival running simultaneously with the Arts Festival. Chris saw it as his calling to be a poet, and right from his student days, he wrote poetry, publishing 16 poetry collections, receiving numerous awards. He wrote 5 plays in verse and several multimedia productions, which were often staged at the National Arts Festival as part of Spirit Fest. He collaborated with his artist wife, Julia Skeen, and with a number of different musicians, also singing and composing himself.